Right, great topic. Okay, so moving on, I will talk about my topic, which, because it kind of lends itself to what we were just speaking about in some ways. So I'd like to talk about this concept of ludonarrative dissonance. Now, you may have heard this term used before, you may not have. It basically means ludo, from Latin for game, narrative, obviously the story. It's about the gameplay and the story, and the conflict between those two things that, you know, is pretty much inherent in every game you play, really. Hardly any game has, I think, ever got it right where there's a perfect balance of gameplay and story. And, yeah, I just wanted to talk about why this concept even exists in the first place. Like, why is it interesting to even talk about ludonarrative dissonance? The term was first coined back in 2007 in regards to the game BioShock. And they was the guy was sort of talking about how the game play is to be self-serving. So you're supposed to, the idea is to go through the game and totally look after yourself, do whatever you can to get more power, and then the narrative was to follow Atlas's character and help him. And so there was a dissonance between helping yourself but having to help somebody else. Just a very basic idea. Yeah. Like, it actually goes into a lot more detail. It's very academic, and I don't understand a lot of what the guy was saying. But the basic term.
Wait, you're basically saying that you have to help yourself and this guy, but you have to pick?
Well, in the gameplay you get to pick, because you get to harvest the little sisters or rescue the little sisters. But I guess it's all self-serving. It's all towards getting more power for yourself and more control for yourself. And there's some philosophy in the game to do with like Andrew Ryan's philosophy of helping, that sort of objectivist help yourself or helping society, or because you played it. Yeah, and then they force you to literally, because there's no other option in the narrative, you have to help Atlas in order to progress through the storyline. And it's like, well, why would I help you? Actually, why shouldn't I help Ryan? In fact, it's Ryan's altruistic sort of his themes that I actually want to follow anyway, and you want to take him down. So I should actually be following Ryan, not Atlas. Okay. So that's kind of what it was saying. It was like,
it's the role you take on within the game, that you take on this hero or this character, and the gameplay is kind of in conflict with what that character would morally do or want to do in that situation. So I'll use the example because I think people still need to understand this concept.
It's really
Arkham City. Okay, Batman gets, hopefully it's not a spoiler for anyone at this stage, but he basically gets poisoned partway through, and he's on a time clock, okay? He's got to basically cure himself before the poison, infects his body, okay? So he gets infected. That's the main story, okay? So he's got to continue the main story by going to the next main story objective. But, of course, Arkham City, you've got the Riddler challenges, you've got the cases he's got to solve, So you're going off and doing all these other things because you want to collect all the Riddler trophies, but your compulsion as a character is to go save your life because you know that you're going to die in 2 hours. But hang on, I've just been dicking around for about 5 hours getting these trophies. So it's not actually real. There is no actual time limit. And that conflicts with... The gameplay is conflicting with what the narrative is doing. So that's another
The narrative
example.
tells you to hurry up.
Yeah.
Gameplay tells you to go off on a tangent.
It's very jarring. Like, I feel it takes you away from the immersion of the game.
Oh, yeah.
When that happens.
And that happens in almost every open world game where they present you with the main story quest and say, go, do this thing that you need to do now. And then the first thing you do is turn around and go and search every nook and cranny behind you to see what items that you might have missed and what's in the basement. And, you just pick the guy's pocket. Well,
I've played games where like the music will be a real high tempo. Like it's like that moment where you've got to escape from the building or whatever. And you're just walking around, you're just picking this up. And, I've got to click that. And something shiny over there, and it's like shit, the game, everything within the narrative, the music, the setting, the situation is screaming at you to run your ass out of that building. You could be on fire. You're just walking around because you've got to collect things, get 100 hip flasks and drink them, and you're just like, and that annoys me. That really annoys me because I want to get sucked into the story. I don't want to be collecting lunchboxes and fucking tokens and
But isn't that a choice that you do? Like I do know what you mean. It's like, oh, go this way. No, I know how games work. I'm going to go this way first.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very meta way of looking at it.
Like I know Uncharted do it really well. Where if you have to do something, like they almost it's not forcing you, but you almost. They do it in the right way that you feel that it's urgent.
But there's still those treasures to collect. And I was actually thinking of that game when I was talking about it. He's trying to run away from something. It's like there's something shiny over there. It's just like
something shiny,
and you just can't help yourself because the gamer inside you is saying get that, even though
they've set it up. They've set it up that you want to collect these things.
Yeah.
They've given you your little journal or whatever, so you can tick it off. You're 30 of these out of 30 and you're 50 of these out of 50.
It wrenches you out of the moment.
Yes, it does.
It literally takes you right out of the moment.
I do know what you mean, but because that's my style of play. That's what I do. Recently, though, playing Witcher, I've had to throw that out the window and almost change my style into like I'm not going to be able to do all of this, and I've enjoyed The Witcher more for just going with whatever wave has been thrown at me. Yeah. And it's really liberating. I suggest giving it a go. I know you won't.
No, actually, I want to.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, because of the sheer scope of The Witcher 3, I'm thinking when I get it, I will actually, for the first time in my life, just play without trying to do everything.
It's a really good way to look at a game, especially a game like Witcher 3 as well, that is so big, that if you just go with the flow, you kind of just do everything kind of naturally, almost.
I've got the feeling you don't actually have to do all the quests.
Exactly, and I think the evolution of the games these days, especially open world ones, that it shouldn't be a tick off the box kind of thing to actually get everything, or maybe it's you'll do it your second time round. Or
they've introduced a new Game Plus mode.
Yes, Game Plus mode,
which is
stuff like
perfect,
and that works well. So you can actually do the story. Oh, now I've done the story. I'll repeat it. Still have all my stuff,
I missed
and then I'll do
things.
these things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I can go back.
So I think the Game Plus is a really good way of doing it.
It's a perfect way. Yeah. Every game.
I like games that do that. Like Last of Us do it. They do a Game Plus mode. You play the first through with hardly anything. Second time you still got all your stuff from your first playthrough, but this time you can maybe play it more meticulously. Maybe.
I think what's got to happen is, and I've noticed this because I'm playing The Witcher 3 at the moment as well, is that you've got to look at what's being given to the player when they're completing these quests. Like, what is the actual reward? So, traditionally it's either loot, so you get some more powerful gear, so that drives you forward. So, I want a better sword, I want a better armour. It's experience, so you're levelling up, getting more abilities, or it's pushing the story ahead in some way. Okay, but the only ones that are pushing the story ahead are the main quest things. Okay. So when you go to do those Witcher contracts and all those other things, you generally get quite a bit of experience or gear. Okay, but if we do this new Game Plus and you go back and you go do a level 9 quest and you're level 35, you're clearly not going to get anything particularly good.
Right.
That's the problem. So what I'd like to see is for those older quests or those, take away the whole level thing altogether. That's what I'd like to see, so that when you go back, it's like, I'm helping this person because it feels like it's the right thing to do for my character, and I'm doing it maybe for a bit of money so I can buy some, some lunch or whatever, but it's also there because it's just part of the world, and it's just part of my emerging story, even though it's got nothing to do with the main quest. It's just part of my, oh, someone's in trouble, here I come, and I'll just run over, and it's just happening as you're doing it. It's not like, go to the other end of the map just to find this one little person who's in trouble. You know what I mean? It's got to happen organically.
A lot of the Witcher quests are like that, though. It's basically roll into the new area, look at the message board. Oh, that's another 4 quests I got to do.
Yeah.
I've got a shitload of quests in my quest log that I just don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling the same way a little bit.
So many quests.
So but what you're saying is good. I think it is important to not do every little thing. It's just to flow through it and just
the only
go
side
where
quest here.
Well, I'm finding quite liberating playing Witcher 3 and just actually going with what happens and not doing my usual style of making sure I have everything and everything's done. I've got that, done that, tick this.
This area is complete.
Now I'll do the next bit. Yeah. So I think you need to do it with a game as a massive scope as Witcher. You have to actually go with the flow, and like Fallout coming up. Might have to do the same with that. Like,
Oh, yeah,
otherwise
for
you get
sure.
nothing done.
We had this conversation the other day, actually, and I said to you, I'm waiting for the day when I get to play a game where I don't feel it's a game. I don't feel any game mechanics. You know, there's no leveling, there's no, there's no, you get gear and stuff, but there's no, level associated with the gear. It's just like it looks better, or it could be stronger or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. You get away from that whole leveling thing. That's what's kind of annoying me, especially in The Witcher. Like, I hate how like something's level 32 and I'm level 22, and I can't kill it or whatever. It's just like, clearly I have to come back later, and I hate that. It's just like, why can't I fight it now? I know you can, but the minuscule
longer.
amount of damage. I'm not going to sit there for an hour and fight this thing. I don't care, if it's level 32, what makes it that much more powerful or whatever? It just seems so arbitrary. I just hate it. I'd rather just everything was open and I could do anything. And some things are harder, some things are easier. But it's up to my skill. And if I'm missing something, it's nothing to do with my level. It's because I haven't found the right sword, or I haven't got the right power yet, or something like that. That would feel more natural to me. I don't know.
Going back to your original
Yeah, I feel like we might have gone off topic a little.
Oh, sorry.
What
was the topic?
I don't know. Is this answered you?
Well, none of these things are really ludonarrative dissonance. These are just gameplay experiences, by the sounds of it.
It is, though. We're talking about gameplay mechanics and how it intrudes on what you want to do within the story.
To some degree, I think the idea or the concept of ludonarrative dissonance is a little. I think it can be loosely applied to things that it probably shouldn't be applied to.
Oh, okay.
And I think possibly what we were just talking about is one of those things, like saying, like, I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but saying that you can't attack something because it's level 32 and you're level 22, and it's the game imposing some sort of arbitrary.
Oh, sorry, that
restriction
was
on
taking it off track, but
okay.
definitely the fact that the main quest line drags you in one direction, but of course you've got all these other side quests.
Oh yeah, all of that is perfectly. Yeah.
And you're dragged away from the main quest because I've got to go do this thing or whatever. And okay, the contracts make sense because it's just collecting money. It's your job, I guess. Like, I've got to go to work now, honey. Sorry, Dandelion, you can wait from being saved. I've got to go do this, and it's just like
Yeah, definitely. That is ludonarrative dissonance. The gameplay has set up this mechanic that you're supposed to do this thing, and you want to do those things, and then the story takes you in this direction, and you're like, you've also told me I need to do these things.
But why bring up the topic though? Like, why do you have beef with this?
I don't have beef. No, I was interested in just discussing like why. Well, I was interested in your points of view on it. Like, why do you think it's this term ludonarrative dissonance even got coined in the first place? Like, why does it matter in gaming? Does it? Does it not? Should we be critiquing games in such a way, like we're really breaking them down and trying to find that perfect game that is the perfect blend of gameplay and story? Should games not have that? Should a game just be gameplay first to serve that function, and then you just layer on a story and a reason for these things to happen in this world?
Well, it's kind of good the way it is because it's catering to everyone. There's the people like James that do just want to do the story.
Yeah. And
he can, like in The Witcher, he can just do the main quest, but then there's people like Jimmy who likes to collect everything, so he can do all that. I think we're a bit
it's a bit more of a choice, like just because of the style that we play, we have a problem with it.
There is a choice, and that's probably how it should stay, because then half of the market's not going to want to play the game because there's not enough loot hunting and,
But I've got a bit of an example for you. The first Metal Gear Solid game, the beginning of the plot of you have to be able to do this, or else in 5 hours they're going to launch a nuke.
Yeah.
You can play the game for 10 hours and nothing happens.
Yeah, there's no time.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That is an idea.
Like imposing a time limit and not enforcing it in any way whatsoever.
And not feeling it.
Yeah.
It's not so much that it's there, but it's the feel of it.
It should be enforced.
Or like you were saying, building's on fire. We have to get out of here now. The co-op character you're with runs out the window, and you're like, I'm going to check the drawers first.
There should be like a 20-second timer.
That's definitely more of it. I think because I think you can have like time sort of skewed as you do sequences in like movies and stuff where like something happens in the space of, they say, oh, the countdown's happening, we've got a minute to put off this bomb, and the scene takes like 20 seconds, or the scene takes 20 minutes, you know, and you can do that, and we just believe it, and we go for the journey. And I think that's probably similar to what happened in Metal Gear. Like, they said it was going to happen in 5 hours, but however long it took you to play the game, could have taken you 60 hours, it was 5 hours. I don't know necessarily if that's ludonarrative dissonance. There would have to be a conflict between the gameplay and the story. So if the story is making you do something that is in direct conflict with the gameplay, like if the gameplay doesn't serve the story, that's when there is the...
Well, it is, because the narrative's asking him to feel like he should be rushed, and he's not being rushed.
Okay. Yeah,
that's what. Yeah,
no, and that's fine. And so if you then break it down, that's your reasoning. I would say that would be ludonarrative dissonance. Yeah, I think it's a loose sort of term that I think it gets thrown around without people really knowing what it gets applied to. And I confess that I don't even know what to apply it to most of the time. And I think it's also probably a term that's a little too academic for its own good and for the people that play games in some respect. But and that's why I wanted to know what you guys thought, really.
It really goes to the heart of stories, though, doesn't it? It goes to the heart of entertainment and movies and books and everything, because a video game is quite a unique thing in the whole sphere of entertainment, because it allows you the ability to choose and interact with the world you're actually watching. And unlike a movie where you just watch it, it's just that's the end or whatever. A game, you can literally do anything. So because of that, that's what creates this.
That's
issue.
what creates it, yeah.
Yeah, and you're always going to have some kind of conflict, because even in a role-playing game, they're not going to have every choice. Oh, I don't want to save the world. Where's that option? You know. And that's going to always happen, because you're going to have it in your mind that you want to say something, or you're going to do something, and it doesn't happen. So I think it's always going to exist to some extent. You don't
think the perfect game can be made?
Not until artificial intelligence comes in and the game actually evolves to what you're doing. Responds to you, talks to you, and that kind of thing. A character actually
perfect game?
Yeah, well, the one that has that perfect blend of gameplay and narrative, like where the blend is perfect.
Basically evolves to suit how you play. Some games have touched on it,
Oh, that's a really cool concept. I thought there's never going to be a perfect game because everybody has different tastes and everything. But if you put it like that, where a game evolves to your play style, without it being mapped.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know there's a couple of games that were doing it. They would, if you were killing things too easily, it beefed up the difficulty. Silent Hill Shattered Memories had a psychology test at the beginning where you answered questions, and then based on how you answered those questions, the game then changed certain things and created certain imagery. So if you answered the question in a very sexual kind of way, it started to put the sexual type imagery in the background of the scenes.
There'd be like a flash of a penis.
No, I can't remember exactly.
Like a Fight Club.
But the monsters, the nurses, started to have a more voluptuous, womanly shape to the monster. And things like that.
Oh, wow, that's
so it was
cool.
all very subtle, kind of.
That's awesome.
Almost Freudian
that's really
type.
Cool.
Shit
It'd probably be
on.
similar to the Until Dawn thing you were saying, with how you had to choose whether you were fearful of needles or whatever, and that must infiltrate the game in some way.
It makes it very personal, though. But but then again, they give you the two. Are you afraid of needles or afraid of spiders? And I was like, I'm not afraid of any of them. I'm afraid of ghosts. Like it's like
You're afraid of the intro into the X-Files.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of choice.
I'm afraid of choice. Yeah.